Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's interview, I have Adam Todd, the CEO of Digitex Futures. Welcome to the channel, man.
Hi mate, thanks for having me.
Before we kind of jump into what Digitex Futures is, do you want to give a little background of your history?
Sure, yeah. I started out as a pit trader. So back in London, at the London International Financial Futures and Options Exchange. Started out in the pit when I was like 19. I was trading bonds, the German government bond. I was trading FTSE for a while. I was in gilts. I was in BTP, the Italian bond. Just a very, very short-term scalper, basically. I was in there for about 4 years. Didn't have a clue what a German government bond actually was, I don't think the
classic trader.
Classic. I think
absolutely nothing about the fundamental
nothing.
assets.
I think the other 200, knuckleheads that were in the pit with me, they didn't have a clue either. I'm pretty certain of it, yeah.
Now, one thing about pit trading, because I've actually, read a lot of books from former pit traders, Ed Skoda, Richard Dennis, the turtle trader guy. A lot of them came up in the pit. A lot of them, they said that you could actually feel the emotion or the energy change, and you could just trade based off of like the actual feeling of
I think it was easier. The screens, you don't get that emotion. You've got a lot of bots that they'll switch like that. With people, it was easier. And also the pits were a little bit more crooked as well. There was a lot of on the elbow trades. The guy that you're standing next to, you can get nice juicy fills from people that from people that owe you favors. So I think the pit was a lot easier. But I think the screens are much better. The screens are much better for trading. They're more efficient, they're faster, it's cheaper. The pits needed to go, but the pits were they were an interesting place.
A lot of traders that I've talked to, they've said that, it helped them, just basic, like having that basis of knowledge, like what moves the markets, that emotional, that sentiment. And one thing you could kind of liken it to, a good analogy is like poker players. Like I grew up playing poker when I was younger in person. Mm-hmm. So I learned to read faces and all that stuff, but then everything switched to online.
Yeah, it's a totally different animal.
And it's like the same concept. You're playing against bots where it's just like, then it's about probability and statistics and it has nothing to do with the emotion.
Yeah.
But so I really enjoy talking to people that are creating exchanges that were former traders. Binance, CZ, he was a former professional trader. He ran like algorithms, and same thing with BitMEX. So how has that kind of helped you in shaping what you want to see in Digitex in your exchange?
A lot. I mean, the idea came from being a trader and just getting killed by commissions all the time. Because I was a very short-term trader. I was a scalper. Commissions just ruined the party every single time. So I always had it in the back of my head that I wanted, some kind of commission-free trading environment. I didn't really know how that was going to work. But then when I discovered, crypto, Ethereum in particular, got this idea to create my own token. You could operate without commission fees by issuing tokens instead. This whole idea came to me, and, just this whole thing I've got in my head about how I hate to pay commissions and how they ruin the party for me, that really is driving what I want Digitex to do. I want Digitex to be a level playing field. I want it to be the only exchange where there's no mechanical edge constantly eating away at you. There's no mechanical edge that's always going on at you.
The house.
Exactly. The house always wins. And if you're paying commissions, you look at on BitMEX, you think, it's only 0.075%. That's not much. It's a fortune, because that's on the notional value, not on the, you're trading 100x leverage, that's actually 7%. It's not 0.07%. Yeah. It's massive. You can't get past odds like that. It's like
very
impossible.
Few people truly understand that fee mechanism and how it really,
it's literally impossible to beat sometimes.
I've talked to a lot of traders because I have a trading course on margin, and one of the biggest things that they learn from it is the fees. A lot of traders, they go to BitMEX and they have this winning trade, but then they end up losing.
Right.
And they're like, what?
You 10 ticks offside as soon as you get in.
Yeah, and as soon as you enter a position, you're down 0.4 Bitcoin.
Right.
If you're in it, so you're just like, okay, well now you have to at least get this level of profitability just to even make it. And that's not even talking make or take, or that's just kind of like entering into a position. So on that concept, Digitex, do you want to just kind of explain what that is for people that are kind of new to the channel or new to Digitex in general?
You mean how we're going to operate without charging? Well, basically, we're just going to charge no fees at all.
So Digitex in and of itself is a futures platform.
It's a futures exchange. It's a futures trading platform where we're going to have perpetual swap futures contracts, and there's going to be no maker fee, no taker fee. Just absolutely zero trading fees on every trade that you do. Now, the way that we keep the lights on, obviously there has to be money coming in, right? And an exchange is an expensive thing to run. It's going to possibly cost millions of dollars a year to run. You've got development, marketing, support. There needs to be money coming in. At the moment, we've got the Digitex Treasury, which has 100 million Digitex tokens in it, which is 10% of the supply. We're going to spend that. We're going to sell those in an ongoing public token sale over the next 2.5 years. So that's revenue for the next 2.5 years. After that, because of the compulsory use of the Digitex token on the platform, we can, traders need to own it in order to trade. That creates demand for the token. After that, we're going to issue a small number of new tokens each year to cover the costs of running the exchange.
Got it.
So there's like an inflationary cost on the token instead of a transaction fee on trades. So
Absolutely.
The money has to come from somewhere. So it's coming from an inflationary cost on everybody instead of on the short-term traders.
Right. So can you go into a little bit more of the mechanism behind, okay, so you have to own it in order to trade on your platform. What does that mean exactly? Like, are you trading in Digitex?
It just basically means it's the native currency of the platform. So you can be trading Bitcoin against the US dollar futures contract, but you're winning and losing in Digitex tokens. So your account balance is in Digitex tokens, your profits and losses are in Digitex tokens, and that's how it's an exchange token, but its use is compulsory.
Got it. And will there be a fiat mechanism at all? I mean, obviously it's a decentralized exchange, but will you be able to like sell it into Bitcoin or USD to be able
not into fiat, into Bitcoin and Ether,
okay.
But we're not going to touch fiat.
Okay, are you adding any stable coins in there, like USDT, USDC?
No, not at the moment. We do have ideas for actually introducing our own stable coin further down the line, but I don't even want to go into that.
Yeah, you got to get the platform up and running
exactly.
first.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two tradable pairs that you're going to start with, or are you planning on?
We're just going to start this November testnet launch that we've got. We're just going to start with one market, Bitcoin USD, one market on testnet tokens. We just want to put all the liquidity in there. We want to test it out properly, make sure it's all working right, and then just scale it out. And from then on, we'll just do extra markets, whatever people want really. There's no hard, fast written rule about what markets we're going to have.
One of the things that I've been watching are some of the cool features that are coming out, and what they're coming out with index perpetuals, index futures, and not just like the top 20 index, but mid cap index, small cap index, and then will you be able to trade against the Digitex token itself? Like, so if let's say your profit loss is in Digitex, will you be able to take hedges out against Digitex so that you can kind of...
Yeah, we're going to introduce like a peg system, which is basically it's just another futures market but on the price of Digitex.
Okay.
So that you can hedge because you've got the potential of price volatility while you're in the trade.
Right.
If the Digitex token price goes crazy, it's going to affect this trade. So you do have that issue. So we are going to have a Digitex peg system where you can, remove that price volatility from your trades.
That would be, because that was one of the first things that I was kind of going through my mind when I was reading through the white paper. And then, so you've had a couple of delays. One of your videos went pretty viral. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth watching. But the biggest issue was developers. And I know that Ethereum developers, they're very expensive with the market. But you got kind of a shit product. They didn't deliver on what they said, and I know that wasn't your fault. You pay someone to do something. And
to be honest, it is kind of my fault. It's very easy to make excuses. There's a lot of crappy developers out there. It's my job not to hire them. That's my job. And then if I do, it's my job to discover as quickly as possible that they're not right and either change them or manage them differently. And that first development team. It took us until January of 2019 to, discover they weren't up to the job, and that's on me. Then the second team that we got, they should have been good. They've been in the Forex markets for 10 years. They were known. They just gave me a total bag of spanners, which was surprising to me. But again, I should have I should have made sure it was better. I don't know how I could have made sure it was better. They wouldn't even let me in their office to work with them. Those guys.
It says a lot about you just as a CEO to be able to make those executive decisions, to be able to close it down, hire a new team, and to be able to pivot quickly. I think that's a very important trait to have. Is you want the best product as possible.
Right.
You don't want to deliver a shitty product, even if it hurts your token price. And I remember Digitex was on a soar.
I know.
You guys were cruising. I was trading it, and it was doing incredibly well. And so, I think it's important to be able to take that stand. Let your community know.
In April, we could have. The thing is, that spot where application as the Digitex Futures Exchange, we could have launched it. It wasn't unlaunchable. It would have been a total disaster if we'd have launched it. But it could have technically have been launched.
Right.
But it was crap. That was not the Digitex Futures Exchange. That was not the BitMEX killer.
Yeah, you have a standard that you're trying to uphold.
I got this dream that I've been working towards. Everything's come to this point. I could not release that. In all consciousness, I just couldn't release it. I had to see that there was nothing I could really do. I had no choice. Was the way I saw it.
The thing is, though, as many people know, a lot of projects got released that were half-assed, that really had no real product or project, and they got released, and here's the code, and now we're going to let the community develop. So the fact that you were able to just stop that and say, hey, we're going to hold off, even though it kind of damaged this. I think that in the long run, it's a short man's game versus a long-term game.
I think that saved us. Like you say, a lot of projects do just release what they've got, and it's just never good enough. And yeah, I made mistakes, but I would like to be judged by not the fact that I made the mistakes, but how did I react to those mistakes? What did I do? Did I run away? Did I bottle it? Did I just scam out? Did I just quit? I didn't. I just put everything into making it right.
Yeah.
And I hope I get judged by that rather than the fact that I made the mistakes in the first place.
The thing is you're not a developer, so you have to rely on developers, and so I'm super excited for Digitex just because of the feeless platform. And so you guys do have an official launch date now for your testnet. And what is that?
Yeah, November 30th. The testnet's going to launch. It's basically a beta product of the Digitex Futures Exchange that we're going to be using on the Ethereum testnet, not the mainnet. So the tokens that we're going to be using are just, going to be free tokens, and we're just going to have the one market that we're going to be trading on, the Bitcoin USD perpetual swap. So that's what we're launching with on November 30th.
So you're on the perpetual swap. Are you going to have futures contracts as well?
No. I was thinking about that. I think we're just going to stick with the perpetual swap. I want a limited number of markets. I don't want a lot of markets that are just going to.
It's hard to provide liquidity. Yeah.
Right. The liquidity is the most important thing in a market, as far as I'm concerned. If products are very similar, I'd rather just have one.
If you just do Bitcoin USD and you do it well with a ton of liquidity for scalpers and for where you can get in and out of positions, because right now, BitMEX, their liquidity engine, and the way that you get overages and over leveraging positions and deleveraging and all, it's crazy the fact that it's like the biggest exchange in the world, but still you can't trade with any size of position, because the liquidity is even still not there. So speaking of liquidity, what are you guys' plans for that?
Well, there's going to be money that's being thrown into the markets there. That's money to be made by those kind of mechanical market maker types. And we're going to do that from the liquidation engine. These other high leverage futures markets, they have the liquidation engine, which makes consistent profits because of the way it works. And they put those profits into their insurance fund, which, it sounds great, it's an insurance fund, but the BitMEX insurance fund is just growing every day. It's like $500,000, $1 million a day sometimes. There's a few $100 million in there. It's technically not theirs, but I don't see them giving it back anytime soon. It's on their balance sheet. Instead of us keeping that money in an insurance fund, we're going to give that money to our automated market makers, who are then going to be programmed to lose that money into the market. So it's kind of just a very different model.
So one of the biggest issues with a lot of these exchanges is they do have a private trading arm that kind of trades against the subscribers or the members of on the exchange.
They're for-profit trading arms.
For-profit trading arms that are technically illegal in most markets.
As they should be.
As they should be, because a market maker is there to provide liquidity. They're not there to take money from retail.
Yeah, we're definitely going to program our market makers to lose money. They're going to get given a chunk of money each day to lose. That money will be lost. One of the things that we're working on the side, we're going to have this provably fair matching engine, using blockchain technology. I'm going to be very interested in some kind of interface that people can see the systems market makers, how much money they've put in, how much money they've lost, just a very...
Okay, so a transparency engine.
Absolutely, because they're not there to make money. I am not interested in fleecing my own customers on the exchange. I want as I keep saying, this level playing field where there's no mechanical edge working against you. There's no house edge. So it's very important to me that people realize that, and I want to show that transparently.
So getting into the technicals just a little bit, how will this decentralized exchange kind of look? You're building it on Ethereum. Is there KYC? Is there an AML element? Is it a decentralized wallet? How exactly is this thing? Are you trading out of your wallet, or how is the actual?
Well, the testnet launch in November 30th is going to be a centralized exchange. It's just going to be a centralized version. We've got a dedicated team in Moscow that's just researching the non-custodial side of it, because the challenges we have with the decentralized non-custodial side of this is, there's plenty of decentralized exchanges and they're all shit because there's no liquidity, because you're moving at the speed of the blockchain. It takes, things have got to hit the chain, which means market makers can't be involved. It's just very clunky. People can front run. It doesn't work very well. What we're trying to develop is a system of non-custodial accounts where it's decentralized and non-custodial, but you still can do real-time trading. And we can check your available balance that you still have with your private keys in real time and put it in the middle of a real-time futures trade. And that is the issue. That technology, as of today, still doesn't exist for anybody.
Right, and I believe you're building on Plasma.
Yes, we're using the Ethereum blockchain. We're using Plasma. We're also researching snarks. We've basically got a 5-person research team in Moscow that is just all they're doing is researching this. We've got another couple of options too.
Right, so you're using the Ethereum blockchain to basically verify all of the transactions and the balances, but you're still kind of searching for this off-chain scaling solution that really
it's looking like it's going to be Plasma. I mean, Plasma, basically you can run your own, it's basically just your own blockchain that you run on one single node, and that's why it's blazing fast. But you run something on one node, that's not decentralized, it's not safe. You can do that on just your normal database, Postgres database. But with Plasma, the trick is they're figuring out how they can use this. You get the speed and reliability of this single node, but you get the security benefits of the main chain, of the parent chain. Right. And it's that connection between the two. So the Plasma side chain is just going, hell for leather, but then once every 30 seconds or once every minute, it's batch committing things to the main chain. Right. But it's this side chain that we're using.
I think I read the Plasma paper 2 years ago, and so they're pretty confident that November 30th they'll have that up. And then, do you guys have an expected launch date for the futures exchange?
The November 30th launch is definitely going to happen. They're not pretty confident. This is
confident.
Smart Deck. This is Smart Deck. It will be November the 30th or earlier. I've worked with these guys for 18 months on other projects, and they're just something else. It's the decentralized side of things that is still a research phase that we are. But it's a research phase for everybody. Yeah. We're at the Smart Deck and Digitex are at the cutting edge of this technology, trying to bring and if we get this really is mass adoption for crypto. Once you can do decentralized real-time stuff, that's the game changer.
Now, we'll touch on it very briefly, but every exchange that I've seen that has launched in the last year, no US. Is that still the case?
Yeah. We just gotta we've got to do strict KYC. We can't have any US people on the exchange. We can't sell any tokens from our treasury to US people. We've got strict KYC on that. We're not operating from the US. We're out in Moscow now. The company is not US. We're a Seychelles company. It's a shame. It breaks my heart to just have to ignore the biggest market in the world. but you know, they're hanging on to these 100-year-old securities laws that they've got, and
Howey test.
Well, what can I do about that? You know, so
yeah, get your shit together, United States. So for the rest of the world, feeless trading. You've got Bitcoin perpetual swap. Are you going to be adding Ethereum after Bitcoin? Is that kind of the next one?
Yeah, I think Ethereum would be the next natural one for sure.
And then why did you choose Ethereum? Was it just that, you know, they've checked all the boxes?
I just love Ethereum. You know, Ethereum for me was really the only contender. I mean, you've got other projects. Sure, you've got other projects. Ethereum's just the best one as far as I'm concerned. They've got the best team. You know, an idea is one thing. It's the people behind it, really. And this is something I've discovered firsthand very recently myself. Yeah. It's the people behind an idea that really make it. And, you know, Ethereum's got like 250,000 developers there. They're a real, you know, compared to the Bitcoin community, the Bitcoin lot look like a dysfunctional family, you know, compared to Ethereum. So I just think Ethereum's got good leadership. I'm just all in on Ethereum. I think it's the one.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for the testnet launch, November 30th. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right. Cheers, mate.